Hello everyone, so we'll start just in a moment. We're getting ready. So hello everyone, this is our member community meeting. So the aim of this meeting is to act as our communication channel for the community. So we're happy to have you as participants today. So please note this is a recorded session. There will be a question and open discussion at the end of the session. So please, if you have any questions, just write them down in the GoToWebinar features. And there's also a chat room as well, so you can chat with us, and we'll open that as an open discussion at the end. So today we have Susan Kinley-Side, who is the chair of the member community, myself, Carl Veillette, as the vice chair of community member community, and Eric Poirier, chair of communications. And we have our guest, Christian Proulx, which is the BIM Solution Director at BIM1. So as I explained earlier, you can use the GoToWebinar features to engage in this session. So you can raise your hand if you have any questions. As I said, you can write them down in the question panel, and we'll make sure that we answer your questions at the end. So quick update about Building Smart. The community is growing, so we have 249 members now across Canada and internationally. We have our Building Smart Canada affiliates program that is also growing. So we have an affiliation with BIMBC in Vancouver and Victoria. We have CBIMC in Calgary, Group BIM Quebec, which is now diffusing from Gatineau, Montreal, and Quebec. So the goal of our community is to build a national network of excellence for Canada's BIM built environment. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about the Quebec City Airport terminal expansion. So today's session is about a case study, a project where we use OpenBIM. So we're going to start by explaining how BCF was used as a communication format, the use of IFC to enable collaboration, and then we're going to finish with the use of IFC and model view definitions to control information shared with BIM during the tender phase of the project. And as I said, after we can answer your questions. So I'll let Christian explain the project, and then I will take the lead on the IFC and model view definition case studies. So Christian.
All right, thank you, Carl. This case study focuses on the application of BCFs and IFC that took place for the 225 million extension project for the terminal expansion of Quebec City International Jean Lesage International Airport. The project is spanning 183 meters north of the existing building. It's a fast-track project and executed in a construction management project delivery approach. BIM1 was a primary BIM manager working right below the owner, Aéroport de Québec Inc., for that project. So who are the people involved in that? The owner is really involved in that project. It's like an expert owner compared to other owners that don't get involved that much. The BIM project manager is BIM1. The architect is a local architect named GLCRM. Structural engineer Stantec. Mechanical electrical engineer, also baggage handling engineer. IT networks engineer SNC Lavalin. Civil engineer is WSP. Construction manager is Pomerleau. On that project, the software used were a bit of Solibri. BIMTrack is used there. Revit, Navisworks, BCF here also, and Tekla. Open BIM standards are used, which are IFCs, MVD, and BCF. All right, this project was chosen as a BCF open standard case study for the following reasons. Well, it provides an excellent example of BIM standards used for coordination. It illustrates the usefulness of georeferenced BIM data and integrated in an issue management tracking platform. It demonstrates a variety of reasons why BIM open standard lead to lean management, demonstrates the value of using BIM open standards like BCF to provide software independent solutions for working with BIM, and provides an innovative approach to support communication using BIM. So the main challenges for the BIM coordination. After a few weeks of exchanging standard clash detection reports, the project team quickly realized that the format of clash detection report varies a lot according to how users configure it. They noticed the lack of compatibility of BIM softwares to exchange clash and quality control information. But the biggest challenge was finding clashes in their original context in the modeling software where it needs to be solved. BIM1 estimated to 2 minutes the average of time required to find and open the BIM views, the model views required to fix an issue using a standard PDF clash report. So that was all wasted time. Considering that there's an average of 100 new issues open per month, this project can be really time consuming. So, you know, standard challenges in a workflow like that is that the project managers noticed that there was a lack of issue traceability. There was no control during the data exchange process, and it was really difficult to access current issue solving status, lack of issue identification information, the numbered disciplines, and inefficient notification system to ensure accountability and timely reactivity. We estimated that the time required to track issues was around 64 hours per month. They also noticed that different versions of issue were exchanged by different decentralized methods. You know, people use emails, file servers, paper, etc., which resulted in communication fragmentation and loss of information. So, you know, with the BCF, the Building Smart BCF collaboration format, you know, this is a standard and a neutral file format used to exchange coordination information. The format structure of the BCF open format allows to attach screenshots, comments, location, and many other attributes used to identify parties involved in solving the issues. Current version of the BCF file is 2.0, released in November 2014. It is not controlled by any software manufacturers, and it is object-oriented. So, after the initial BCF format deployment on the project, came BIMTrack, a web-based collaboration platform introduced to track and manage the issues created as BCF in a central hub. Charts and graphics generated from the BCF files were used to inform project managers about coordination management performance through precise metrics. The platform supports open BIM workflow solutions by supporting IFC for the 3D viewer and BCF for the collaboration, the model coordination collaboration. So project performance were improved by those statistics. It was 88% faster access after the BCF was deployed on the project. The time required to find and open model views required to view and fix an issue was lowered down to 15 seconds instead of 2 minutes. 9 out of 10 of management time was saved after BIMTrack BCF-based issue tracking platform was deployed. The overall required time to track and manage issues was lowered down to 8 hours per month instead of 64. Regarding savings per year, using the BCF format combined with BIMTrack platform, it allowed the project team to save an average of 88% of the time usually required, so it resulted in around $75,000 per year in saving for that.
So thank you, Christian.
No problem.
So I just want to add that Blending Smart is not sponsoring any of the BIMTrack platform. So BIMTrack was developed by BIM1. Okay, so the second part of the case study is the use of IFC to protect copyrights. So this project was also chosen as an open BIM standard case study for the following reasons. So it provides an excellent example of open BIM standards for use during tender. It demonstrates a variety of reasons why open BIM standard brings a better understanding of the project scope. It demonstrates the value of open BIM standards such as IFC and MVD to control information shared. It provides an innovative approach to support the tender phase using BIM. So, building a library of smart and parametric objects compatible with the BIM environment can be a laborious task. So once the content is developed, the benefits are huge, obviously. So in the case of special items like those used during the design of a baggage system, it's sometimes difficult for professionals involved to share the content with everyone. So this is the case of SNC Lavalin, who have spent many hours creating a performance library for the design of this type of system. So the goal of the customer, Aéroport de Québec, was to provide digital models to promote the coordination on the project by different stakeholders during the design phase. So in some cases, competitive advantage may lie in the optimized use of BIM. So we had to find, the challenge was to find a method for SNC Lavalin to exchange the digital models and satisfy the following needs of the two parties. So the first need is to protect the interest of SNC through as to the copyright and make sure that they're willing to share the model with other parties involved, and meet the customer's needs for using the model to their full potential in order to promote the coordination in the design process. So the solution was to use IFC. So IFC was the format developed by Building Smart to optimize the interoperability while exchanging data by using a standardized format. In this project, it was used to protect exclusive copyrights. So the result is a model in which the parametric behavior of objects and libraries is removed, but the property stays in order to share and facilitate the collaboration and sharing among different models from different projects stakeholders. So the result, by using the IFC format, digital models of the baggage and luggage system were exchanged, so it enabled and improved the 3D coordination with other disciplines during the design phase. So again, on the same project, we chose to show you how IFC and model view definitions were used during the tender phase. So it provides an excellent example for BIM open standards used for tender. It demonstrates a variety of reasons why open BIM standards lead to improved understanding of project scope by bidders. It demonstrates the value of open BIM standard like IFC and model view definitions to provide a software independent solution for working with BIM. And it provides an innovative approach to support the tender phase using BIM, open BIM. So traditionally, the building information models are not exchanged during the tender process. So consequently, different bidders must calculate the quantities required to estimate and manually evaluate the scope of the project with 2D documents only, as they will do traditionally. So one advantage of building information modeling is to promote under the understanding of the project by using 3D visualization and extract quantities very quickly for the estimator. So it is not easy to share model in native file format for tender, because anyone could obtain these models by purchasing the tender documents, and thus will benefit of the BIM models and content library configuration work that was done by the professionals. So something that could have been done is to use a federated model in a native file format. However, it will have favored bidders working with a specific software manufacturer tool. So for the sake of neutrality on this project, we had to find an independent solution that does not restrict the ability for the bidders to use these models and the information contained in them. So in addition, when awarding the contract, the bidder should be able to recover the model used during the estimation process and further develop them for the detailing and fabrication process as well. So the solution is IFC 2.3 and then the model view definition coordination view 2.0. So this is what happened on the project. So the structural model was developed initially in Revit and then transferred to Tekla using IFC. So IFC models contain the data and building geometries themselves. So they include all or a subset of the information that is contained in the native BIM files. So processing and exporting native data in an IFC file is a way to transfer the data from one application to the other. So the exchange format is open and free and well documented. So by providing an IFC export, the client was able to provide interoperability with hundreds of other BIM tools that bidders may use for estimation or later use for manufacturing on the project. Model view definitions are like filters. So the goal of the model view definition is to describe a common parameter to exchange all data that could be a common pattern to exchange all the data that could be exchanged between BIM tools for a specific delivery. So the required information depends on the type of exchange required. So this subset is called a model view definition. So the use of IFC and model view definition limits the liability of parties to a specific scope and recorded in a defined delivery reg. For an example, a digital model for bid. So our BIM management plan has expressively required IFC 2.23 and then model view definition coordination view 2.0, thus limiting the information in models produced by the stakeholders. So by providing an IFC export with a specific model view definition, the client was able to provide interoperability with hundreds of other BIM tools, allowing the delivery of digital models during the bidding process to promote understanding of the scope of work for entrepreneurs. So this led to reduce costs through better understanding of the project scope of work. So I had a quick survey here. So I'm just going to start with the first question here. So please answer the survey. I'm just going to leave you a couple of minutes to answer. Okay, so we've got 75% of people voting. So I'm just going to leave 10 seconds. Okay, all right. So Rick, do you know how to display the, okay, I have it here. Okay, so we've got
80% of people saying
okay,
no.
so the question was, have you used industry foundation classes on a project as an exchange method to optimize interoperability? So we've got 80% of people that said no, and then 20% of people that said yes. So thank you for answering. I've got another question here. So have you used industry foundation classes format on a project as a delivery to a client?
Probably we're going to have 80 and 20. Oh.
So we're gonna leave another 10 seconds to answer. So we've got 92% of people voting. Okay, so I'm gonna close it. Okay, so we've got 92% of people that said no, and then 8% of people that said yes. Okay, next question. Have you used BIM collaboration format on a project? Okay, another 20 seconds. We have 85% of people that have answered yet. Okay. So we have 82% of people that said no and 18% that said yes. And the last question, have you used an information delivery manual, or have you ever developed a process map for a project? Okay, so just another 5 seconds. I'm going to close the survey. All right, so 55 of people said yes, and then 45 of people said no. All right. So I would like to open the discussion. So if you have any questions for me and Christian about this specific case study project and how we use Open Standard, it's the time to write them down in the chat or raise your hand.
So thanks, Cal and Christian. That was really, really interesting. And the survey results were very interesting. We do have a question here. So it was relating to BCF. I'll read the question. So you mentioned that there were differences between the BCF packages made by different packages. Not too sure. How did the team standardize the form or the content of BCF to support the project? Was BC Fire used to standardize this?
Yeah, so when we first started the project, we were using different softwares for reviewing or doing a quality control process. So we were using Solibri, Model Checker, and Navisworks at that time. We were using the case BCF exporter for Navisworks, and we were using the BCF here for Revit as well. So we were producing, and on the Solibri side, we were exporting BCF files with the native features of the software. So obviously, there was a need for standardizing all the information that is contained in the BCF, the resulting BCF files. So what we did, we defined in the BIM management plan the standard parameters for the different fields. So let's say we had to standardize how project phases were written, how the numbering was done. So we had unique identification number for each BCF files or each entry in the BCF file. And we also had to standardize other type of attributes that were included in the BCF. So this was all done in the BIM management plan that was shown or sent to the different professionals involved in the process.
Excellent, thank you. So I don't know if anybody, if any other attendees have questions. I'm just gonna take a look. If people, so if you're, don't hesitate to raise your hand, or if you have any questions, we can open the questions up to. I think one of the things is what we'll want to get out of this is, so understanding that IFC, we do have a sense that it's being used little and that there's little demand for IFC. And one of the questions that I could maybe ask to just maybe initiate a discussion to the people that are, in the meeting is, where do you see opportunity for IFC, and maybe what are the issues that you've had with IFC if you've used it in the past, or you perceive with IFC? Here, we do have a question here. So how far were you into the project when you developed the BIM management plan to include the specs for the BCF exchange?
Well, we were about 20-25% in the design phase, I think. We're in the early development or the early coordination phase of the model. So they weren't, they were starting to have a lot of issues. Mostly were visual quality problems, but then it came pretty fast afterwards. So probably 20-25%.
Yeah. During the early phase of the project, we're not using clash detection. We're just doing visual quality control in the models using viewers such as Navisworks and Solibri. But later, when we reach we finish the concept, we started doing clash detection. So we were able to use BCF for that as well.
But the difference with that is that we started the project because there wasn't no BIM data, no models when we started the project. So we had to model the existing conditions. So the team was all in place. It was the right time to kind of not practice, but fine-tune our processes. So we started by modeling the existing building. And we did a practice, like we did a coordination of the models in that while modeling the existing conditions. So it helped identify problems. So we did clash or quality control on those models that resulted in BCFs. And it started earlier than in mid-project when we realized that we needed a platform to manage that. It was obvious that we were losing time, accuracy doing that. So
by modeling the existing conditions, we were able to test the process, the BIM process we put in place. So it was a good practice for the extension and the new concept of the terminal extension.
Yeah, because the teams were kind of quite new at working in that environment, in a project office like that, working together, having an owner supervising the project with a BIM manager. BIM manager, principal BIM manager. So it was a good thing to have that. It was a good practice.
How many organizations were involved in the project that used that exchanged information with IFC and BC, who were involved in the whole modeling process?
So if we talk about BCF first, so we've got Pomerleau, we've got Stantec, we've got GLCRM, we've got SNC Lavalin as well,
and the client
itself. So because they're an expert, they have some construction professionals in house as well. So they were able to access the BCF and review some quality control done by BIM1 on the project as well. So we've got a couple of stakeholders involved and using the BCF actively in the project, and it's still ongoing. So and on the BCF, the IFC file, itself. So it's basically everyone that needed to send tender documents. So because the project is still ongoing, there's still some left, but we've got 3 people exporting or receiving IFC files right now. Three stakeholders, I mean.
What are some of the best practices that you there's an understanding that you sort of had to develop a platform to manage these issues because they were multiplying, and just to centralize them and make sure people were with the most current issue. What are some of the best practices that you've figured out, and is that something that you would like to maybe share with members of Building Smart?
Yeah, sure. So we found that BCF is really good at accessing the issues very quickly in the original context. The main challenge we had is about the communication channel itself. So that's why we put in place, well, we developed on this project an issue tracking platform. So it was to centralize all the information and make sure that people receive notifications when new issues are created. So this was aimed to be a communication tool more than a communication format itself. So we were still using BCF, but we were able to put it in a centralized location and make sure we've got some metrics to see how much issues are open, how much issues are closed, and track this over time.
And overall, the quality of the model, it helped reach a higher quality level that was harder to achieve without managing those BCFs, because it's you can create models, you can create huge models, you can compare models and create clashes or problems, but if you don't solve it, if you don't address it, it's still a problem. And there is so many issues that can be generated in the project that if you don't, well, it starts with your identification process. So if you do the clash analysis, but you don't do it correctly in the right time and right matter, well, you're going to generate more problems than you have to. So it starts with that, and then you need to manage those that are relevant. So it's a combination of knowing what to do and when, and what tools to use to have better models.
Yeah, and on a fast track project like this, we don't have much time for coordination. So we need to find to streamline the process and make sure it's as efficient as possible. So BCF help us do that, retrieve the issues really quickly, and the issue tracking platform help us track this over time, and then make sure that we assign issues to specific people and and get a full pedigree of everything that happened to this issue with communication, a web-based communication channel.
So one of the questions is around publishing the case study, and I know that this is something that Building Smart Canada is trying to do, is publish these cases of open BIM use and best practices of BIM use. And I know, Carl, we've been trying to work on a case study for this, so that'll be something that we'll be publishing shortly. Also, the presentation will be made available to the members, as well as the recording. Are there any other questions that from the people in the audience? And is there anything that maybe that we'd like to discuss in terms of orienting these meetings around issues with IFC, and what are the common issues, and maybe how do we use IFC on a daily basis? I think this is a great example of the power of IFC and Open BIM. But I'd like to hear from people in the attendance if they have any concerns or questions that they'd like to maybe discuss, and we can exchange about.
I think we've gotten a question here about how BIM standards were defined in the contract. So maybe Christian can talk a little bit about that. But basically, what we did, we added an appendix. We added the BIM management plan in the contract itself.
Yep.
So
the BIM management plan was added as a contractual document for during the negotiation. So that's how we made it possible. So the contract itself is just kind of relating to that document.
To the BIM management plan, yeah. So it was done for the professional, the contract for the professionals, and it was done for the contract of the entrepreneur as well.
Contractors.
Contractors, yeah.
Any other people want to join in?
So, anyways, this is an open forum, so if ever something comes up, we're available. Send us an email at information@ibc-bsc.ca, or you can reach out directly to Cal and BIM and Christian at BIM1 if you have questions regarding that. I've just volunteered you guys, but I don't know if that's an issue, but I'm sure they'll be glad to discuss anything. And also, I just reiterating that Building Smart Canada has no vested interest or hasn't endorsed BIMTrack, but you could maybe discuss Cal and Christian. I think you guys are trying to get it certified by Building Smart International as a certified open BIM platform.
Right.
So maybe discuss that. Or
yeah. So we're currently working on it. So it should be done maybe by the end of this year. So this is something we're actively working on.
Excellent. All right. So if there's anything else, please, as I said, feel free to reach out to us. This recording will be available. I'd like to thank Christian and Cal very much for this really eye-opening case study. I think having it happen in our backyard is pretty inspiring. We see cases of open BIM in Europe and in Scandinavia, and those seem pretty far. But having something right at home that has displayed this level of proficiency with open BIM is really a great sort of beacon. So thank you very much. Cal, I'll let you finish the meeting and discuss next week's meeting, next month's meeting. Sorry.
All right. So next month we're gonna have the meeting is gonna be on the 29th of June. So we're gonna welcome Pierre Mitt, which is the president of BIMTrack. So it's the French chapter of Building Smart. So he's gonna talk about things that are being developed by BIMTrack for developing a strategy to numeric transition for BIM in France. So the meeting will be held in French only. So we may translate the presentation as well and then send it to people who wants to see it in English.
Yeah, what we might do is we'll have the French presentation first, and we'll see with Mr. Mitt if he doesn't mind us sort of taking his presentation and presenting it in English. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in this roadmap that the French have developed, for ICTs in construction, and something that we can maybe inspire ourselves of or just trade stories with.
Great. So thanks a lot, Eric, and hope to see you all guys next meeting next month.
Thank you very much.
Great.